Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again to the Push to Pass F1 podcast. Today's episode is a bit different as we are currently in the middle of an off season. First of all, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and all that to everyone. Happy holidays. We are currently filming this on the 6th of January, and today we're going to be looking at something a bit different and something I've got a strong opinion on it, and I think you might as well, Reef. Well, first of all, Reef, how was your New Year and how was your Christmas?
Yeah, it was good, mate. Bit of a quiet one, but it was good.
Yeah, you worked on Christmas Day, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, look at him, a man of the people. So we're going to be looking into the feeder series of F1. If you are new to the sport, which I can imagine this time of year there probably is quite a few new people getting into F1 and wanting to know more about it. The feeder series genuinely consists of Formula 2, 3 and 4. There was this lower levels, but people tend to disregard them. Just starting off, what are your thoughts on the feeder series as a whole?
I like the feeder series concept. I think it's something that has worked in the past. I think it's good, and I think it's a good platform. And the way that it's supposed to be is it's supposed to be equal machinery, and it's just down to your talent, and it's a good place for young people to showcase themselves. And I like the ladder system of if you perform in F3, you'll get a drive in F2. But I think as we'll get onto it, doesn't always work out like that, and I think that's sometimes where it's flawed.
No, it never works like that. Yeah, I'm like you. I like that progression of like the natural as you go up from like 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. The cars change, you learn more with those cars changing, and you usually get rewarded for being better. But yeah, I think there are plenty of issues. The biggest one, and I think it's the first thing you mentioned, is that equal machinery. I don't think it really is anymore, is it?
I don't think it's equal machinery anymore. I think when I said it in the tone I said it in, I think there's been plenty of speculation in the past of specifically ART. They've always had rumours around them giving priority to their first driver, because if you look at history, they always have one driver that massively outperforms the other.
That's who George won with, wasn't it?
Yes, George was ART, Lewis Hamilton was ART, Théo Pourchaire ART.
Yeah, ART is. Well, the team I was going to mention was Prima, who would usually for anyone new to feeder series, or if you've never heard of the feeder series before, Prima is usually like, if you're in a Prima car, you've pretty much got a solid chance of winning the championship. And I remember people have always questioned how legitimate their approach is to like the feeder series, and is their car actually the same as everyone else's? Is it equal? Blah blah blah. Have they got an unfair advantage? And as a feeder series, you as like, I don't want to call us diehard F1 fans, but like more knowledgeable F1 fans, me and you, we can tell that when you look at a new Formula season for this feeder series, you can tell who's going to do well mainly based off the team they're in rather than the driver a lot of the time. And that really shouldn't be the case.
No, it shouldn't. But then I almost kind of like that Prema's seen as a top team. I quite like that the top talents are rewarded by going to those teams, and I'd like to think that it's more of a budgeting thing.
Yeah, I think it is.
They've got better staff, and they've got better knowledge and know-how. Because I mean, there is teams that do work on a lower budget, and we'll get to it. But the way that they get around that is they use paid drivers, which is something that I think, as motorsport fans, we have to accept it's an expensive sport, so paid drivers have always been around and they always will be around. But it is something that is, I think, a particular problem when it comes to grid spots.
I think paid driver is such a loose term.
It is, because to a degree, well, actually no, every single driver on any motorsport grid is a paid driver, because they all bring sponsorship.
I understand the like. Because if you look at the more like light-hearted stories of like the only ones I can probably think off the top of my head, if you look at like an Ocon whose like family were he wasn't born into riches, his like mum and dad had to sacrifice loads. Lewis's dad had to work like 2 jobs to get him in Korea. Even then, they're still paying their way into the sport. But it's more when people look at like your Strolls, who are like, oh, your dad owns a team, your dad's a multi-billionaire. But there's a lot of people forget how much people pay to get into, especially F1. Like, people are not going to like it, but Lando Norris is probably one of the biggest paid drivers on the grid because his dad is like one of the
Yeah,
richest men in Britain.
I'd say one of the biggest known paid
Yeah,
drivers because I do think it's just a case that all of them are. I mean, Sergio Perez is one of the biggest cases. He's got a billionaire in Mexico who's backed his entire career.
and that's
You know, it's
it's arguably why he probably is such an attractive prospect for a team like Cadillac now, because he brings that
100%.
that sponsorship money of stupid amounts.
I mean, you look at Sergio Perez, every single car that he's driven has had Telcel and Claro on it.
And
That's just
and they're usually big sponsors, aren't they? They you can tell that they.
yeah. So, but you know, that's not a slant at all. That is just the reality. The reality. But you look at some drivers. I was debating whether you actually mentioned the drivers because I think, you know, if people see it and stuff. But you look at someone who's not in the series anymore. But you look at someone like Richard Verschoor.
Yeah.
He had he had 5 seasons in Formula 2. And don't get me wrong, for the last 2 seasons he was winning races, but he was a talent that was never going to get to F1. You knew from the first season, you knew from the second season, and you definitely knew by the third that he was never going to be going to F1. So he's taken up a grid spot for someone else who was probably be more deserving because he brought money to a team.
What is Richard Verschoor doing nowadays?
He is going to drive in LMP2.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue. The biggest issues with the feeder series are the money aspect and the machinery aspect, and those two sort of come hand in hand because if you have more money, you're more likely to get in with a better team. But also, I think there needs to be some sort of like. There needs to be some sort of review of the super license thing because I don't agree with it.
Yeah, the super license thing, I struggle with it. I don't have a full understanding of it, to be honest.
They've changed. So my understanding is they've updated this year. They've made IndyCar more relevant.
I was going to say, because my understanding of it was if you're in Formula 2, you're in a good spot because they hold a lot of super license points compared to something like IndyCar.
I want to say it was top 3. I think if as long as you did well in Formula 3 and then went up to Formula 2 and finished in like the top 3 or 5, you pretty much had enough for F1. But I think there needs to be an adjustment where if you are in F1 and like you don't perform to a certain level, you should lose super license points. And have like a sort of promotion relegation thing. Because I think that's the only way you're going to guarantee the feeder series to work. Because if like, I don't know, Colapinto next year, he doesn't score a point all year and like he's the only driver who doesn't score points. If he then keeps his seat but the F2 champion doesn't get promoted, it just doesn't feel right.
An interesting concept. I mean, I look back a bit and I think the main problem is that if you do well in a feeder series, there's no guarantee that you'll get to F1.
Oh no.
Anymore at all. And like you look back to it was called GP2 back then, but you look back to the mid 2000s and there was a 4-year run. This is just literally took me 2 minutes. 4 years between 2005 and 2009. Each champion got promoted to Formula 1 and they all had good careers. That was Nico Rosberg.
Yeah, some of them
Lewis Hamilton,
still on the grid, aren't they?
Timo Glock and Nico Hulkenberg. You look at the last 4 F2 champions from the times previous now. We've got Leo Fornaroli, Gabriel Bortoletto, Teo Porcher and Felipe Drogovic. I think I could comfortably say that at least 2 of them, obviously one is in F1, but 2 of them will never touch F1.
No, I don't. Porcher and Drogovic will get nowhere near.
Yeah.
Another
interesting thing is, which I'm quite confused of how this has happened actually. It used to be a big thing that if you won F3 as a rookie and you won F2 as a rookie, there was only 2 people before 2020 who did that, and that was George Russell and Charles Leclerc, and you look where they are now. So it's like a prestigious thing to do. You know, if you do that, you're a top driver. We've had 3 people do it in the last 4 years, and that's Oscar Piastri, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Leo Fornaroli. So I think what's happened there, to me, there's been a change, and I think that must be with machinery.
I think it's either machinery or lack of standards, because there are some drivers in F2 that not going to be. I'm going to be very harsh. They should not be that level.
Shields.
I was going to say the man who paid for us, an Aston Martin test, but that's the sort of drive that is the example of a paid driver. Like, was it Rio Hirakawa or something?
Yeah.
He paid like 3.4 million for a McLaren test.
It's insane, isn't it? But you look at it from the manufacturer's point of view, you know, like if the demand is there and people will pay it, then they'll take advantage of that.
Because I think I'm right in saying, and I will double check this. F2 teams, you don't get money for the driver winning the championship, do you? You get it for constructors.
Yeah.
Because they never seem too bothered with like drivers winning it. So like it makes sense for an F2 team or an F3 team, F4 team, whatever. It makes sense for them to go, I could have this really good driver who brings like a decent amount of money, or I can bring this worse driver in, but he'll give me like 3-4 million quid.
Yeah.
It
does make sense. There is a reason why paid drivers exist. Like, it makes perfect sense for them. But it's just unfortunate because then you've got a feeder series that isn't really performing like a feeder series anymore.
Yeah, it creates that bottleneck, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I think people like Teo Porcher and Felipe Drogovic had a dominant Formula 2 season. He absolutely wiped the floor with everyone that year. He's deserving of at least a season in F1. I think that's how it should work.
100. You should minimum be at least linked. Like I remember when Drogovic won the title and people were like, "Oh, he could do this," and then every seat was announced and it's like, "Oh, well, he's going to go sit in." He did end up going to like WEC, I think, didn't he?
I can't remember what he did. Obviously, I know he had the role with Aston Martin.
Yeah, I'm sure he went. I think he went into WEC. We had a conversation of like this year when I think Stroll was going to be either banned or injured.
Yes,
and he was
you're
doing
right. Yep.
hypercar stuff. But also, this is another thing I want to go back to, especially with F2. Drivers like Nick De Vries and Teo Porcher, they are sort of against the argument of if you win, you should be allowed in. Because Nick De Vries spent like 4 seasons there, beat Nicholas Latifi.
Yeah.
Teo Porcher was there for a good 4 or 5 years, I can remember.
F2, I think Porcher only had 3 years.
Did he? I will double check. But
I think so.
I remember, and he was spoken about for big things. I remember.
I'm a big advocate for Teo Porcher. I think because people forget how young he is. I mean, he finished second in Formula 3 against Oscar Piastri at 16, and he was only just 16. And then he went into F2 as a rookie at 17 and was competitive. I think he had a few race wins. Second year is what killed him off because he kind of didn't really jump a level.
Yeah, he did 4 seasons. Well, no, he did 3 full seasons and 4 races in 2020.
Yeah,
finishing
that would have been the year that he finished F3. Sorry.
Yeah, it's when they do the partial season, don't they? They like put him in for the last 3 or 4 rounds.
And he's just kind of floated off into he's IndyCar now, isn't he?
He did IndyCar. I don't know if he still is, but also he's another driver who was lost out to a paid driver because he was meant to have that Alfa Romeo seat for the longest amount of time, and then Zhou got it.
Yeah, and to me that is the problem with feeder series because Guan Yu Zhou, while okay, he did win. I think he won a couple times in F2, or if not, he was like podiums, and he was like a top 6 driver at the time.
Yeah.
But you look at their junior careers, and Teo Porcher was far more.
Teo Porcher is currently in WEC.
Better. Yeah, and that seems like a lot of the places where they end up. I mean, the canon event at the moment is they all just jump into doing Formula E. Like you look at the Formula E tests,
It's
and you look
all
down.
F2 drivers.
It is just every single one is F2 drivers,
Well, this is the other
which
thing.
is
Oh, go on.
stupid.
No, go on.
No, I just you look at it and you think they're spending all this money because this is where they're told to go as well. It's not like it's a choice, you know. If you want to do open wheel racing, you go to Formula 2. So you've got these kids and these families that sell their souls to get there, and they like most of the time they perform well, and then they end up going to a complete, honestly, backward step to Formula E.
I can't remember who it was. Someone made a great point. I think it was a few years ago. This is my other thing I wanted to talk about. Formula 2, for as long as I can remember, and I remember the first year I watched Formula 2 was when Charles was in it. So that would have been 2017.
Yeah.
So a good pretty much 9 years ago now. I remember that then F2 was seen as every F2 driver is only aiming to go to Formula 1. Now it's F2 drivers, they'll go to IndyCar, they'll go to Formula E, they'll go to WEC, they'll go to GT racing. Some of them will even go to Super Formula.
I do think, yeah. Go on.
Well, my problem with that is it's down to the structure of it, but it's also down to the teams in F1. Why have a driver academy if you're not going to use your drivers?
100%. I'm not quite sure what the driver academy's for, really, because Red Bull seem like they're the only ones who really actively use it.
Well, Red Bull, they use it, but they don't like their drivers.
No, and everyone else, they like take them through and they'll support them. No doubt, you know, if you get picked up at 13 years old by a Formula 1 team, it changes your life.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I'm sure there is plenty of benefits to that while you're karting or just starting out in Formula Renault or whatever you're doing. But what sense is it when you get dropped at 18? You know, what's it there for? To me, it just seems pointless.
I think it's... I understand, like, especially that's the other thing, karting is so expensive. Like, especially at that point, that's probably when people are, like, they're probably most financially stretched in terms of they're running a lot of it off their own back and stuff. So I understand from that point of view why a team would then invest in a driver. But, like, McLaren have started doing it now. McLaren are picking up more drivers in karting. But then, as their drivers progress, a team like McLaren is quite fortunate in the sense of they've got so many different cars and so many different series you can just naturally filter into them. But like if you're going into, I don't know, like a Red Bull, an Alpine, a Red Bull, even like a Mercedes seat, you're so narrowed in what you can go into that they'll get to the point where they'll do good in Formula 4, 3, they'll get to Formula 2, and if they don't do good, then the team will just go, I don't want you anymore.
I think you're seeing that now with someone like Luke Browning. It's like Williams Driver Academy.
I don't know. I even forget Williams got a driver academy, can't I?
Theirs is the most useless, I think. I don't think they've ever
put
anyone through.
They bought Logan Sargent, and because Sargent was part of theirs. Didn't they have Zach O'Sullivan for a bit? Am I thinking of Zach,
Honestly,
or was it Zane Maloney?
They're like the same person in my head.
One of them two used to be in the Williams Driver Academy. Yeah, but like driver academies are so stupid.
Yeah,
they need to be utilised better.
I was going to say that's one way that you could improve things. I mean, ultimately, it's a hard thing to do, but one thing you could do is I think you could open up another team in F1.
Bring it to 12.
Yeah. I think that makes perfect sense. I've said that quite a few times. I think 24 drivers.
It's the sweet spot, isn't it?
It's great.
It's worked before, it'll work again.
11 teams, I don't know, just falling on an odd number seems wrong. So if you have 12, okay, that brings up another 2 spots. That can help. If you can utilise your driver academies a bit more, I'm sure that would help. As for cost, people say, oh, make it cheaper. That's never going to happen.
No.
That's not possible. So I understand that. You know, the industry's ever changing. Stuff's always developing. It's never going to be cheaper. I mean, I know they do have things like cost caps. I don't know how well they listen to them though. So
I don't think they have a cost cap in F2, do they?
I'm sure they must do.
They probably have a they might have like a. Remember the old F1 scoring system? Like the better you finish, the more money you could spend.
Yeah.
But also, like, even then, you're stepping into dangerous territory of people being like, well, if I get into F2, like, I'm trying to think of F2 teams now, but if I get into like Van Amersfoort or something, and I'm like, oh, well, they finished last year, so I can't do anything for a year. But I've paid 3, 4, 5 million quid for this year.
Yeah.
One of the things I did want to look at is in terms of improvements for the feeder series. How would you go about it if you were Mr. FIA man?
I think talent is a big thing, because you said it earlier. I do think you look at the top lads, and they're as good as anyone. You know, they're great. But you look towards the bottom, and there's a few names there, and you do think, are you good enough? And you can kind of see that through. You look at past grids in the past, and you look at people that weren't at the top, and you see that they've done well. They've done well for themselves anyway in other things.
Yeah, like even if you're say if you're like a, I don't want to say bang average, but say if you're like a midder to up T, you're not like a championship contending F2 driver. You've still got a good chance of being like a good GT3 driver. You could be like an LMP2 driver or something.
I mean, yeah, you're elite. I think if you're in F2, you're elite. And like you look at people like Alex Palou, was like he did a season in Formula 3, I think.
I think he did a bit of Formula 2.
And he was like mid pack. Look what he's gone on to do. You look at someone like Antonio Fuoco, who was like, he was never a world beater, and he's got like a really good Le Mans career now, or endurance career with Ferrari.
Yeah, and he's got like a factory drive, which is like the highest level you could. Yeah,
but I'm really not sure.
Alex Palou did F2 in 2017.
And I just think they rush it now as well. I think there's such a big thing with age. Like you look at someone like John Bennett.
Hey, friend of the show.
I don't think he did. He didn't do Formula 3.
No,
or if he did, he never did a full season.
He did Formula Regional Middle East.
So to me, if you're doing a regional formula and then you go straight to F2, to me that doesn't seem like you're ready.
I'm gonna just put it straight out there now. I don't see the point in F4 and F3.
I see it. No, I like F3.
My issue with F3 is too similar to like Formula Regional, which a lot of people go into.
Yeah, but they only go into that for cost, don't they?
Cost. I think
I prefer Formula 3 to Formula 2. I think it works more.
I prefer the cars, because Formula 2 cars are way too complicated. They're trying too hard to be like F1 cars when they're nowhere near.
I think Formula 3 is pretty good, and it's a lot closer. I love that, like, who was it? Was it this year? No, it was Fornaroli last year, won the championship. He didn't win a single race. Just like, that's how close it is.
I really like some of the stories of some of the junior drivers. Because when they come up to F1, if you see them progress naturally through the series, you have that stronger affinity to be like, oh, I've seen him develop as a driver, I want him to do well. What I don't want is, well, I've seen him race once in F3, he did okay in F2, and then he managed to get a seat at like a Alpine.
I think that's one of the reasons why I like Oscar Piastri so much, is because
he had
I remember him in Formula 3.
Yeah, he was the lockdown year, wasn't
he? Yeah.
Him and Logan Sargent.
I remember, I think the final round was between three. It was between him, Pourchaire, and Sargent. And it was at Mugello.
Yeah, I was just about to say, am I right in saying he did it in Mugello?
And Sargent went off into the gravel.
Shock.
And pretty much handed him the title.
Yeah, and like
but
that.
You look at that and it's like, yeah, you get a story.
Yeah, but then you also look on the other side of this, the other, you flip the coin on its head. Max did F3 and went straight to F1.
Yeah, but that's Max, isn't it? Max.
But my other thing to bring that down is so did Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
Lance Stroll went F3 straight to F1, didn't do any F2, and that's gone well.
Well, the thing is though with Max is you look he did a season of I think it was GP3 back then,
Yeah, F2 did
or it
come.
might have been Formula 3, but was it called like Formula 3 Europe? It wasn't. It wasn't F3.
Formula 2 was 2017, I think. Was the first
17.
year
It
of
was
it.
the Charles Leclerc was the
Yeah,
first year.
but mate, I remember years ago you had like, remember Formula Renault? That might still be a thing
Yeah,
actually. Formula
Formula Renault's a
Renault,
thing still.
yeah, because it was like Frecker. Um,
But you look at Max then. You look at who he was with. He was with I don't know which one it is. I don't know if it was Felix or Tom, but Blancfist, who's they're good drivers. You got Esteban Ocon was in his year, and like I think he finished third, and he was like 15 or 16, and he had like wins all the way through.
I think it would have been, probably would have been Tom Blomqvist.
I don't know.
One of the quite interesting sort before we, because to finish off, I've got a really strong opinion on how I change it. Just before we get on to how we would change that, one of the stories this year, and probably the biggest feeder series story we've had in a long time, is the switch of Colton Herta. So for those of you who don't know, Colton Herta, coming from IndyCar to F2, presumably to join Cadillac either in 2027 or 2028. He's their reserve driver. But a bit of background information on Colton Herta. He was, in comparison to F1, he was probably seen as like a Lando Norris type character. He had a lot of hype around him, and he has been linked to F1 for quite a while, hasn't he? There was a Red Bull shout a couple of years ago.
I'd say it's probably been about 5 years.
Yeah, ever since that, I think it was about 2021, he was linked with Toro Rosso or AlphaTauri. I can't remember which one it would have been back then. But yeah, that story of him switching over is interesting as it is weird.
I think it's going to go horrendously.
I was looking on they did a test post season, I think, and he took part in it, and he was like 1.8 to 2 seconds off.
I hope I'm wrong because I think it'd be really cool. You know, it's a cool thing to happen if he does well. But ever since I fell into the Ritomo Miata hype, like big time, and I thought because he came in, I think he's like 2 times Super Formula champion, pretty much won everything there is to win in Japan. Really handy in endurance as well. Like he did bits with Toyota Gazoo and like did really well. Was really highly regarded. I thought, oh, he's going to wipe the floor with F2. He's a bit older, a bit more mature. They're going to have nothing for him, and I don't even think he's finished like top 15 in championship.
I
He's done 3 years.
just don't think I don't think age matters in Formula 2 anymore.
No, but I think I was just thinking, you know what? Like you have the stereotypes of the fast F3 lads who come up and they're just mental. And I just thought maybe like a bit of like wheel experience. And I think he was like 23, 24 when it is in his first season. And I thought, yeah, this is like match made in heaven. And I just think those F2 cars are really hard to drive. I don't think they're not like anything else.
No, and they're probably nothing like Herta would have ever driven, because I don't know Herta's exact junior career, but like the feeder series to IndyCar is Indy Lights, which is it's closer to like a Formula regional car.
I was going to say, he did Indy Lights, didn't he? Did he win it?
I will double check.
Or I might be on about Pat O'Ward, actually.
He's done a bit of IMSA. Yeah, he finished third in. No, he did two. So he's done 2 seasons of Indy Lights. He finished third and then second. He's done Euro Formula, British Formula 3, Spanish Formula 3. He did the Asian Cup, and then he did like the US 2000 series, which are like regional series. So he's had a.
I hope it goes well, but I don't think it will.
I hope it goes well because it shows the transition between the two, but also I just think realistically the only reason he's doing this is because he didn't have enough super license points.
No. I mean, if I wanted to see anyone do it, it would have been Alex Palou, because I think that genuinely could have. That could have been something.
I think that still will happen eventually.
Now that he's in that lawsuit with McLaren, I think he'll be kind of blacklisted from the paddock. I I think other teams will think, oh, he's bad news.
I don't know. He's got Red Bull written all over him for me.
Do you think?
Yeah, just to add more fuel to the fire. I'm just looking at the F3 grid, and it's actually quite a good grid. There are some interesting characters on. I will give it for free. Enzo Fittipaldi's back. No, Emerson. Well, we got a new Fittipaldi. He was born in 2007.
Bloody hell.
What are we doing with our lives? Right. I have a way to fix Formula 2 and Formula 3 and Formula 4.
And what's that?
You get rid of all of them.
And do what?
So, my suggestion, you get rid of driver academies. You get rid of Formula 3 and Formula 4. You change, so instead of having driver academies, you have a thing called like I don't know what they'd call it, the FIA like academy program or something, where from a young age you can get picked up by or a team would go and scout a driver and they'd be like, hey, he could be good in the future. Can we give him some funding? The FIA would be like, yep, sound whatever. Push him through, and then they get to F2, which I would change the cars to be like a similar sort of build, not exact build, to an F1 car with a weaker engine, so that they handle the same, but they're not like full breakneck speeds. So you're not just chucking a rookie in a full powered F1 car. Because I think that's one of the big things is an FP1 session for a rookie isn't going to prepare them enough for a Formula 1 season. So I think if you, I don't know, give it like 200-300 less horsepower and make it a bit heavier or something, so it's similar but not like a carbon copy, and then at the end of the season they still you can do champion, whatever, blah blah blah, and then how your order finishes, there's some sort of draft to ensure that there's a natural progression for those drivers into a seat. It doesn't have to be F1, it can be IndyCar, WEC, whatever, any FIA series. At the end of the year they go Alpine in WEC, we'll have the champion or something, just so then it makes the feeder series valid to actually be a stepping stone. Not, I've driven an F2, I can say I've done that, I'm going to go, I don't know, become a data analyst or something.
Interesting.
Hey, get me in charge, but
A draft system. How would that draft system work?
so the way I would think about it is you'd probably have to come up with some sort of scoring method, wouldn't you? Or you'd have to have you'd probably have to do it in the sense of relevant super license points. So say if the champion of F2, or say if you finish 6th in F2, then your super license points would limit you to probably a lower down team or something.
Okay. Do you know what I've just thought about?
What is that, mate?
You get rid of Formula 3 and Formula 2, and you make your own championship, like you're saying. So we'll call it the same as you, FIA Academy. And they're both in the exact same cars, and you actually make them the same cars, but you have 2 championships. Because obviously you'd have a bigger grid, obviously, because you're kind of merging them all together. So say you've got 60 drivers, you have 30 each championship, but then the final 4 rounds of the season, the top 15 from both go into the showdown, we'll call it, and it will be heightened points. So say it's 25 points for a win originally, we'll call it 35 for a win.
And do it like a sort of knockout thing.
Yeah, and then I think you'd kind of see what the cream rises to the top, and there's drama.
I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure that for the feeder series to remain relevant, the best drivers need to be rewarded for driving the best.
Yeah, because then the problem I have with F2 is I used to watch it a lot. I used to actually prefer it to F1 for probably from 2020 to 22. Loads of times
people
I used to
did.
prefer watching F2.
I remember 20, like you said, 2020 and that sort of period. the amount of discourse there would be online on social media of just like, oh, more people need to watch F2, more people need to watch F2, and now everything I just see is like F2 is a bit of a joke now.
And that for me is because I no longer have interest, because I used to look at the winner and think, yeah, they're gonna, I want to get on this early. Like, I want to know who's going to be the next world beater. Like, you can say that you've been following them for a while, but now I look at it and like, you see like Richard Verschoor win the Bahrain sprint, and I'm just like, well, there's just no like jeopardy in that. I know he's not going to go to F1.
I'm trying to think of drivers like before the crop we've had. Like I remember watching Lando come through before, like I'm trying to think before the most recent rookies we've had. Like even someone like Liam Lawson, right, who didn't set the world on fire in Formula 2, but he was a very good Formula 2 driver, to the point where it built enough hype that people wanted him to have an F1 seat. I think that's the biggest thing. As long as a driver leaves a feeder series where you've got at least a section of the fan base going, I'd really like him to see him in Formula 1 at some point. I think that's what makes it then relevant, rather than someone going, well, he could, or they have a chance to. Because you're not building that connection between a driver and a fan base. Like, people loved this season. People loved Gabriel Bortoletto. People loved Ollie Behrman. People loved Isaac Hadjar, because they were these personalities who had earned their spots on the grid, and people wanted them to succeed. They weren't a driver that's paid X amount to be thrust into a seat and then have to perform. They're people you want to do well.
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
Who do you want to do?
You do get them every now and then. They do come round, and it's like, yeah, these ones are different. Like, we had it in 2019, we've had it this year. So I'm not saying it doesn't work completely. It does work. But I look at the actual product and I'm no longer interested in it.
Yeah, I really couldn't care about her anymore. I like some of them. You just look at it and you're just like, well, what even is the point? Because like, and I remember a lot of times I used to wake up purposely, because F2 and F3 is always on earlier, and you'd purposely wake up to go watch it because you're like, I want to watch that before the race. And now, like, I went to Silverstone in 2024, and the F2 and F3 races, to watch them live, they're much more appealing to watch than watching F1 cars, because they sound,
noise, isn't it?
Yeah, they're so much of a rawer sound. You appreciate, like, it's probably different for older fans, but someone who like, I'm 20, and watching people my age drive around a car with that much power, that much skill, and like putting it on the limit, you've got so much more respect for them. And then when they've got these stories, like in that field, you would have had like Kimi Antonelli, you would have had like Ollie Behrman, everyone like that, Hadjar. You had those stories where you were like, oh, I really want him to do well, because you can sort of, you not understand it, but you can sort of be like, I wish that was me, so now I want them to go and do well, rather than this guy's 28, he's paid £6 million to have a seat, and he's 30 seconds off the pace.
And he'll never sniff an F1 seat. He'll probably go on and just, yeah, like you say, be data analysis.
I'm looking at the current F2 grid for this season, and I can probably see 2 F1 drivers on it.
Have a look.
It's not the best grid. There's one person I'm really excited about.
I found my new favourite driver anyway. I looked at F3.
Yeah.
Tuki Toponen.
You love a Japanese driver, don't you?
Nah, mate, he's not Japanese. It's probably Tuki Toponen. He's Finnish.
Let me have a look. I forget how many drivers are in now.
Ferrari Driver Academy. I just love the Finns.
F3. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll look.
Freddie
right.
Slater's in F3.
I'm excited to see what Rafael Camara can do.
Yeah, is he Ferrari?
Yeah. I'm excited to see Nikola Solov. He's someone that I do think...
That's the person I'm really excited to see. Because
he's got promise.
And people think, like, this year we were raving about Arvid Lindblad. People think he's better than Lindblad.
Gabriel Mini. You don't know about him yet? Sebastian Montoya, for obvious reasons.
Gabriel Mini stinks of like an F3 Formula E driver.
Mm-hmm. No, Sebastian Montoya, I'm excited to see.
It's nice to see another Fittipaldi, but none of them have ever done anything, have they? Really?
Uh, another season of Alex Dunn is
Ah,
good.
he's. I cannot wait. He has to get into F1 in my opinion. I think he's so good,
I
and he
think he's
is.
good, and I think he's just mental.
Oh, that's why I want him in. He's great. Right. He's one of those. Joe, when we say like, not paid drivers, but you have like those jokey drivers that are like, they they have some decent lev. They've got like some decent ability, but they will probably put the car in the wall like 9 races a season. He's one of those ones that you want to go in because he's clearly really talented, and like even Red Bull are rumored to have wanted to sign him for next year. But like, he's that good that it sort of outweighs how mental he can be.
I love a bit of mental as well. I just think like Ollie Behrman's calmed down now, but he had a bit of
He
that.
used to be absolutely mental.
Yeah, just I think it's good, and he's Irish. It's just another nationality. It's a nationality that's not often represented in F1, which I always find fun.
This Noel Leon. I think he did. Yeah, he did F3 last year, and I think people were quite excited about him. He finished third in the Macau Grand Prix. Fair play to him. Who would be? Go on, rogue prediction. Who do you reckon is gonna do well on F2 this year? Who are you rooting for?
Rooting for Ratomo Miata, but someone I think that will do well, and I won't say Dunn because I think Dunn has to do well. Like he will do well.
I think Dunn probably will win the championship.
I think. Oh, this is difficult. Oh, the thing is, Campos aren't that great, are they?
Um, no.
Because I think you have to look at Invicta because Invicta are very good.
Yeah, and Prima fell off massively.
So
High
Rafael
tech,
Camara,
yeah, high tech are always in and around it. Joshua Dirksen is a decent driver. He was good. He was okay last year. He was just very.
he's an interesting one.
He was very crashy, smashy prone.
I mean, he's had 55 starts in F2, which is quite a lot.
That's
It's like 3 seasons.
yeah, 3 or 4 seasons. Oh yeah, because they do two a race now. I was trying to think. Hey,
Oh no, sorry, I lie. I tell a lie. He's had 2 years.
well, misinformation. Ollie Goethe will be an interesting one. Kush Maney is always fun because he's prone to smash up a car whenever he wants to.
Kushmani's another paid driver that just needs to go. Like he's had plenty of years.
Kean Shields.
I mean, that's mental.
Yeah, I'm most excited to see Nicholas Solov.
Yeah, I think he can cause some real Bulgarian as well. Like
What a,
I can't name a single
I
other
l-
Bulgarian driver.
This is going to sound mental, right? I love a rogue nation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got Alex Dunn, who's Irish. I love that.
Or like, I think Joshua Dirksen's like Paraguayan.
Yeah, Paraguay.
Rafael,
Yeah,
Rafael Camara, Brazilian.
got an Argentinian as well.
Hey, who
Nicholas Veroni.
is it? Like we got an American, we got a Mexican. Montoya is Colombian.
Sports car. Oh, this guy's got aura. Nicholas Veroni's 25 and he's had a full career in sports cars. And he's coming back to open wheel this year.
What a boy! Yo, wow! Formula Renault. Porsche GT. He did F3, then Le Mans Cup, Formula 3, Le Mans Cup. He did the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
I'll keep an eye on this guy.
I think that is also a good thing to see more drivers who have had like a decent career just go, I may as well roll the dice and go for an F2. See if whatever can happen. We have another Thai
who I'm
driver.
excited for. We got a Thai driver.
Yeah. I'm not. Oh, this is going to be a fun one to say.
Where? Oh.
Tasanapol Inthra
ART as well.
Didn't Alex Albon race right at ART? Was
Alex
he?
Albon was Dams.
Yeah, he was. Are Dam still in F? Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Lucas Oil Dam.
they've fallen off.
Remember Russian Time?
Yeah. Artem Markelov.
Ah, that is the definition of a paid driver. What is that man doing nowadays? For those of you who've never watched F2 before, go back and watch Artem Markelov. He was there for about 25 years.
He was mental as well. He loved slinging it up the inside.
Artem Markelov. He's retired.
He's 31.
He last competed in Formula 2 in 2020. He was in F2 when he was 26. Just mental. That sounds quite young, but it's actually really old.
But F2 it is, yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping, because F3 have changed their cars now, haven't they?
Yes.
F3 have gone to that weird F2 design where everything's curvy and looks kind of weird.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. But as much as we've slagged off and debated about feeder series and F2, F3, called it this, that, and whatever, please go watch it.
Give it a chance.
It's one of those things where you don't really know how good it is until you watch it, because like with F1 you can go off and say like this team historically has been really good, or this team historically has been really good, this driver's been really good, but these are a bunch of rookies, half of them being kids, on cars they've never driven and cars that are like completely different.
Mega powerful.
Mega powerful. I think that's everything, buddy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so we hope you have enjoyed this new style of video. There'll probably be a few more of these. We've got some ideas coming up over the next few weeks. We are about 24 or so days out from testing, so F1 is nearly back, which is mental, because I remember when it used to be like, oh, we finished in November, now we're not coming back till March.
Yeah, how times change.
But yeah, any video ideas, please let us know what you'd like to see. We have got some stuff planned and some really interesting ones coming up. So, if you have been listening on Spotify, don't forget to drop us a 5-star rating and a follow. It's hugely appreciated. If you are listening and watching on YouTube, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe. The support so far has been really cool, and we are hoping to grow as much as we can now during this off season and into 2026, which should be a good year. I have been Max.
In Reef.
Ow! And this has been the Push to Pass F1 podcast.